Over the weekend, I got bored, and when I get bored, I get anxious. An overwhelming sense of dread creeps into my bones as I realize that I have not done anything worthwhile. Worthwhile, according to my brain, does not include eating, drinking, taking a much-needed nap, or trying to relax after an extremely mentally, physically, and socially taxing week. So I did something. Lucky for me, I have successfully placed the personally enjoyed task of creating art into a category that my brain will usually accept as both relaxing and productive. Usually. However, due to all my brain cells being used solely to make me feel useless, I had no brain cells left to come up with an original art idea. So instead, I took a grand adventure to find some drawings that I had done in my youth. I went to one of our storage closets that is full of half-unpacked boxes, despite having been settled in this home for about a year already, and I found some drawings of characters from stories that my sister's cousin and I had created. This left me with actually quite a number of characters to choose from, but I was most interested in this piece. This heckin' bad boy is made of 25 US standard printer paper pieces. And yes, my mom did eventually tell us to stop stealing her printer paper to make fantasy maps. It's a culmination of maybe 4? I don't remember exactly how many years, but it was a decent amount of time where all my energy wasn't being sucked up by depression and anxiety, and instead I was able to do an actually incredible amount of world building, character design, and story creation, which probably explains why I've begun my foray into DMing D&D campaigns. This map also has a pretty decent amount of characters drawn on the back, each having a name and some even having small details written about them. It's actually a pretty sweet compilation. I mean, sure, some of the characters have horrifyingly large eyes, broken necks, or look pretty much the same person to person, but you can really see how my art style changed and progressed in different ways over the years. It's hard to say at this point truly whether or not I'll redraw all the characters. In fact, some of them just need to be remade in both art and soul, like this straight up appallingly stereotypical Hispanic woman who apparently only cares about tortillas. Yikes! So, let's get drawing. To be honest, this isn't actually my first redraw. As you can see here, I've drawn one of the other characters, Victoria. She's a punky half-vampire, half-human. I think little me had a fundamental misunderstanding about how vampires are made, but whatever. The reason why I don't have a video uploaded for Victoria is because this was originally supposed to be an Instagram Reels series. I didn't really well document the entire process since it was only supposed to be like a 10-second video, but then I realized I wanted to do a voiceover and some other effects, and then editing the reel on my computer became the most practical option. But by that time it felt like this was way too much effort to be putting into a 10-second video that only 2 people are gonna watch anyways, so instead of completing that project, I decided to move on to the next character and record my screen while I drew and created a much longer and more substantial video for approximately 2 people to watch anyways. So, a very important first step, get your canvas out. I've been working on a canvas that is specifically sized to fit in an Instagram post, since that is currently my most followed and most active content platform. And another thing is that the rest of the video is actually 3.5 hours of recording cut and condensed into a palatable amount of content. And I have a little scroll wheel on my drawing tablet that lets me zoom in. And I do this a lot. So apologies in advance for any headache-inducing color changes and zooming that may occur over the duration of the video. Second very important step is save your file. Wystyriah, with 2 Y's and an H. Little me is getting more problematic by the minute. Now let's be honest, I didn't give me much to work with. The original drawing screams generic brown-haired white girl with a serious ocular issue. It's not really giving me half werewolf, half human. Again, I didn't really have a good understanding of werewolf lore at this time. Anyways, so I found me some references from Pinterest, which to be honest I don't really use super strongly, but still were a great reference point. The references I actually did use are on a separate screen, and I forgot to both save them and take notes of who made them. But these 3 super cool drawings on the screen from top to bottom are by Regan, 11 Cents, and Zoe Hayes. I wanted to go for a more dynamic pose than I did with Victoria for a couple reasons. I was trying to evoke werewolf mid-transformation vibes, which sort of begs movement. These big swingy movements aren't my usual style, but it's something I can draw with some thought and effort. And little me could never dream of drawing such action poses. On top of that, having a full body head to toe in like a character sheet style like I did with Victoria doesn't fill the canvas as nice. Also, I was too lazy to fix the resolution so I wouldn't be annoyed by the pixels when it came to making details. When I moved her arms down, she looked like she was doing a stop, so yeah. So after a bit more futzing around with her pose, I went in with more details. Gave her claws, and I turned her head, at which point I realized if I turned the head, I would have to draw a muzzle from the front, like head on, and no thank you. I think I searched wolf expression sheet or something like that on Pinterest, which has a lot more useful references than one would expect. I was looking for just a snarl or a growl, and there were a lot of different drawings that other people had made and posted to the internet, which were super cool and convenient for me. Yeah, so I moved the head down some to give it more of that hunch that you see in like werewolf-y drawings. And it took me a while to get it right, but we got there. I also tried drawing wolf feet, which I end up doing a lot of work later in the drawing to cover up because I realized I'm making my debut on the internet's YouTubes with one of the things I'm very not well versed in drawing, anthropomorphic animals. Actually, animals in general with fur. I draw frogs, salamanders, snakes. Not really much time with wolves. In hindsight, I could have just drawn a girl with wolf ears. 11-year-old me couldn't draw a werewolf, and neither can I. Eventually, I start working on the dress. The original dress design has an extremely heavy-looking drape to it, and I started with that, but it felt like it was weighing the whole drawing down. So instead of the dynamic movement I wanted, it looked like she was stuck in mud. So I drew an action line to remind me which way things are turning. And kind of like the wolf head, it took me a while to actually be happy with how things looked. I ended up making the dress a much lighter fabric. In the final reference, I was actually looking at like ballerinas in chiffon, maybe? Question mark? I don't know. But they were twirling, and the way that the fabric would fold is a lot more dramatic and, you know, foldy. But it helped me feel like I could manipulate the fabric in more wacky ways so as to cover the cursed foot-leg region while still making approximate sense. And I say approximate because I know it's not perfect, don't at me. So I did a rough second sketch in blue. I didn't get rid of the red, I just wanted to define details that I liked just to make it easier when I started actually coloring things. Oh, and I realized I left out the very important detail of her silver locket, which I think was intended to match Victoria's gold locket. I don't remember the lore behind it all. I don't think they're sisters, but I genuinely have no memory of what was up with them and their lockets. Also, again, silver locket for a werewolf. The irony is not lost on me, but it sure was lost on little me, who definitely didn't know better. After I was happy with the final sketch of the character design, we can sit back and relax and watch the coloring process. A somewhat irritating thing is that my monitor won't let me access the saturation adjustment part of the screen menu, and with the few settings it does let me access, I cannot for the life of me get it to color match my XP Pen screen. I know I can change the settings on the XP Pen tablet. The unfortunate thing is that I really like the color settings on the tablet much more than my monitor, and that tablet matches the color settings on my phone really well. And I didn't think about changing the settings until after I'd started coloring, and I just didn't want to deal with that. I guess it just depends what your screen color settings are, but comment below, I guess, if my drawing looks washed out or weirdly greenish. I don't know if it keeps being annoying. I'll do something about it. I would talk about my process more, but honestly, it's just kind of do it. I am not organized at all. There's tons, as you can see, of me jumping between different sections, working on other sections when I get frustrated. Working on foreground items, then background items, then back in the foreground again. There is not a method to my madness. Stay wondering about how my brain works. I don't have a good answer for you. I start working on the fur and immediately regret the amount of hair that is involved in this project. I could have just drawn a girl with wolf ears. I feel like I haven't done this much hair since I drew Corvitica's She's on Twitter, her original character Cloud, who just has an incredible amount of fluffy hair. She's a beautiful, beautiful OC, but holy moly, that's a lot of hair! But same mood going into this drawing. On top of that, it's fur, which is technically just short hair, but it feels like it's harder. Then I went in to add highlights and I was like, dip, I forgot to lock it. So I went back to fix that and I had a very difficult time not making it look like a butt. And I also had a really weird time with the colors, but I think it turned out okay. I added a little more shading, multiply layers, you know. I did mess with the HSV adjustment and color curves for a bit. I was concerned about the other monitor display where it felt like it was washed out. I ultimately ended up just leaving it as it was, even though I do think that some of the red would have looked nice. I think it turned out pretty okay. So yeah, that's my thing. This video started off super jokes and then ended kind of commentary because I don't know how to YouTuber. I don't know how to talk to people or anything like that. I'm an introvert. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, do the thing. Like and comment if you want. I don't know. Subscribe, I guess, if you want to follow me redrawing childhood characters series. It's gonna be cool. Yeah, there's a lot of characters. It's not gonna end anytime soon. Links for all my social medias in the description if I remember them, but I might not. Who knows? Not me.